Welcome back. Today, I'm going to be guiding you through one of the key compositional elements of photographs, colour. Colour is one of the most important and active ingredients of photo composition, although it's often forgotten about until the editing stage. In portraits, landscapes and still life shots, colours can be used to add depth, create mood, or draw the viewer's eye to a certain part of the frame. With that in mind, it's important to understand the basics of colour theory. In this project, we'll take you through a few ideas for using colour palettes with the help of brightly coloured flowers and papers. When you work with physical elements, it becomes easier to experiment with different colour combos. Use contrasting and complementary papers and play around to find a palette that works for you. Then, put your learned skills into practice in the real world. We'll be referring to the red, yellow, blue colour wheel in this project, which most of us would already be familiar with from art class. Red, yellow and blue are the three primary colours, and artists have used these for centuries. The secondary triad of colours are purple, orange and green. To get started, let's look at what you'll need. A variety of flowers were used to splash the colour into this shoot, but you could use other bright still life subjects if you prefer. You'll need something colourful to place directly behind your subjects. As we were shooting close-ups of flowers to illustrate the technique, we only needed a small background and bought a set of coloured papers from a local craft shop. The more hues you have to try out, the better. We also had a few clamps to hand, as these would hold our flowers in place in front of the paper. We were using a mid-zoom lens with our Canon DSLR for speedy recomposition of the frame. There's no need to go overboard with studio lighting. Plentiful natural light, such as that from a large window, can work well. If you have brightly painted walls, make sure these don't cast any unwanted colours onto your subjects. Set your camera to aperture priority mode and dial in an aperture of around f8. Set the white balance to auto and shoot in RAW mode. This means you'll be able to tweak the colour balance more easily later. Set the ISO to suit the ambient conditions. You can shoot with a tripod or just go handheld here. We found it freeing to shoot handheld and moved closer to and from our subjects. In rooms with lower light levels, a tripod will probably be necessary to avoid camera shake. Next, we clamped one of our flowers in place and positioned a piece of coloured paper behind. Refer to a colour wheel to come up with complementary colour palettes. This is done by using two colours that are opposite each other. For example, a pink flower was the perfect contrast to a green backdrop. To take this idea further, why not create a double complementary palette by combining two pairs of complementary colours? Of course, colours don't have to be contrasting. A monochromatic palette that includes one hue, such as this yellow flower against a yellow background, can be used to create a sense of balance and calm in an image. A similar feeling is achieved when you include colours that are next to each other on the colour wheel, because the contrast is minimised. These colour schemes can be applied to any genre of photography, whether it's a landscape or portrait. Why not look for complementary colours in nature, as they're a really effective way to draw attention to a subject? Have you ever noticed how a red flower in a green field stands out, for example? Consider complementary and monochromatic colour palettes next time you're shooting, and use them to inject energy or tone down your frames. So there you have it. Next time you're shooting, use monochromatic or complementary colour palettes to inject energy or tone down your frames.